So let's see if we can wrap this thing up and tie it in a bow. I wanted you to hear from Jessie because she is a warrior, and she's one of those that decided I had momentum. Life happened. I lost momentum, but it's time to get it back. And she did. She made a choice. I saw somebody make a comment that said she made a choice. Um, this is me at a Georgia football game. I think that week Lori and I had Trey, my oldest, and all three of his boys there with us. But the reason I'm putting football up here is I had an amazing what made me decide that momentum was our word for this season, this second quarter of this year, is something hit me a few weeks ago, and it was the spring football was coming back, and I was thinking about all these schools that had amazing momentum. And I don't know who you follow; it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I really admire Kirby Smart as a leader. I admire Nick Saban. There's several coaches out there. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out that's your favorite, so don't get mad at me. I just know the ones that I'm close to, and I've heard some of their tactics and things. But think about it, maybe your school, maybe your team. It doesn't have to be a college football. Maybe your team had momentum, and something happened that maybe robbed that momentum. And I think about football as the example right now. Think about a programs like Georgia and others that for a season there they were set up. I mean, to be a real dynasty. Look at what Nick Saban did over a long period of time at Alabama. And there are other examples. Again, I live in Georgia. Alabama's next door. Well, I live in the SEC, so I'm using that as my example. But we've had some turbulent things happen to us. But think about what NIL and the transfer portal. If you're into football at all, that means college athletes getting paid now to perform, and it means they can move from one school to the other whenever they want to. You know, Kirby Smart said, all I want to know is who's going to be on my team next year. And there are things that impact momentum beyond our control. And we certainly have faced some of those things with, like we've talked about, Jesse talked about, COVID, crisis, technology, all the things that could have impacted you. And we've all got our own stories. If you've lost momentum, you probably would label that on something. I would encourage you not to blame somebody else and take some ownership, because if you're going to regain that momentum, you do need to look in the mirror sometimes, you know? But I wanted to talk to you for a minute about this. Seems to have come up tonight, but Skylar talked a little bit about the four things that they wanted to do as a company to support us. And one of the things he said was, we want to give you reasons to open your mouth. And that was, I didn't know that's what he was going to share when I put this slide together. But I think in order for momentum to happen, I think there has to be a catalyst for inertia to start, for something to move in the direction you want it to go. Something has to catalyze that. And I thought it was just amazing that Skylar identified that that was one of the things the company wanted to make sure they were doing, was giving us catalyst that would push us to take that first step, whether it was a bonus and a pot of cash in a contest or new products. And the cash is important. But, you know, in our business, I would rather build my paycheck than I had continually go after one-time cash. So I like the cash to get it started. But what I really love is and more was that new product that gave me a reasons to create a high, just to raise the bar on the consistent residual income. Now, so we got to have a catalyst, but the consistency there is not about consistent income. The consistency there is something we really began at the beginning of this year, because we talked about, in order to have your best year ever, it wasn't a one-time thing. You didn't just, chop a piece of wood one time and you split your firewood for the season. No, you had to keep swinging the axe. You had to keep chopping. And consistency, what we described it, what it looked like was, if you are going to build this, you're going to work really hard with intensity and build this fire. Pretend your business is like a fire. And you work hard and you build this amazing fire. What's the one thing you know that you have to do? You've got to consistently throw wood on that fire, or the fire's going to go out and you got to build it all over again. Okay? So we know that has to happen. So I want you to think about, what are you doing? Number one, you're hearing some things tonight about creating your momentum. And I'll tell you one story. I did, this was not planned, but it just popped into my head. When Lori and I've been seeing Amy make comments, and there are lots of leaders on this call tonight. Amy Getz, she was really hammering home some of the things that Jesse was talking about. I'm sure Amy probably taught her some of those things. But one of the things that I think is so important with all these leaders, and it was true with Lori and I, if you're going to have momentum, you're going to be able to look back on a period of time when you stop saying, I'm going to try and do this, I'm going to try and do that, when I have time, I'm going to do this. You're going to look back and say, there was a season in 2025 when I decided I wanted the fruits of this business for my family. I decided that I was going to do whatever it took to get it done, and I sacrificially invested. And I remember when Lori and I signed up in late 1987. Gosh, that's been a long time ago. We're old, aren't we? And I had just recently graduated from Georgia Tech. We had recently been married. And y'all think I'm really weird. Now, I showed you that I've got season tickets to Georgia football, and I'm telling you, I went to Georgia Tech. Yes, that's right. All my kids went to Georgia, and my son was Harry Dog. And so, I just got in. I love SEC football. And even when I was at Tech, I watched Herschel Walker play football. So, yeah, I did go to Tech, and I love the Yellow Jackets too. I love both. But, all my money went to Georgia to pay for my kids' tuition, but thankfully I got that tuition money from Juice Plus. That's great. But, so when I graduated from Tech, they were like at the peak of ACC basketball. They were in the Final Four. They were like jamming. We had what they call the Lethal Weapon 3, Mark Price, John Sally, and Bruce Dallmer. We had an amazing basketball team, and I loved it when I was in school. I got student tickets and could go to every game. Then I figured out when I graduated, I couldn't get tickets anymore. I didn't know that this was a thing, but you had to give like $10,000 donation before you had the right to buy a ticket. That didn't even include a ticket. And here I was right out of school. So me and my 4 buddies, we had to all chip in together to create one account for each of us to scrape up and donate enough money to buy some tickets with our brand new job right out of school. And Lori and I decided we were going to do Juice Plus. It was basketball season. I had tickets. We had made arrangements, donated money to make sure we could go to the games. Guess what? I didn't go to one basketball game that year. We decided basketball would wait, and we were going to build this business. Now, we all have different obstacles, but what is something that you might need to set aside? You're going to grab one of these things like Skylar talked about that's your catalyst, but in order for you to consistently go do this over a short period of time to create momentum, what are you willing to set aside? Because every big leader that's created a business where their family's blessed for decades and generations to come in this business, they will tell you there was this moment, this 6 to 12 month, 18-month window of time when I sacrificially invested in my business. And I knew that if I did that, all the things that I missed out on for that short season, they'd be there when I got done, and I'd have more resources and availability to enjoy them to a greater capacity. So I'm telling you, that's going to happen whether you realize it or not. And I love this Zig Ziglar quote. He says, some of you don't ever think you can be a big shot, that you're just a little shot. And Zig Ziglar says the major difference between the big shot and the little shot is the big shot is just a little shot who kept on shooting. That's what that consistency is. You just keep on shooting. You keep on popping. You keep on going after it. This is an example of what Skylar talked about. Superfood is a major catalyst for me and my business right now, for you and your business, for the company and our business. It's a breakthrough. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was kind of sad that this story didn't come out at conference. I prodded Skylar and Travis a little bit to share this, but then there's only so much you could share on stage. And Gina and the whole rebranding and everything they told us about superfoods, I can see why this just didn't have the space or capacity. But can I tell you why I am more excited about this superfood as a catalyst than maybe anything in my 37 years in this company? So I'm going to go back a little bit, tell you how old I am, or you'll feel how old I am. When I got started, we were still in the water filter business. And just for a couple of years, and then Juice Plus came out shortly thereafter. But we were in that business, and the company was struggling when they were in the water filter business. You know, the bottled water was coming out, and you had to be a plumber almost to sell our product. It was great. It was the number one selling water filter in the world, but I mean, you had to install the things under people's sink. It was a lot of work, okay? And you had to buy a bunch of inventory. Anyway, right before I got started, Jay was telling this story of what turned things around and saved the company. And, you know, Jay was if you never got to hear Jay at his peak telling stories, you missed out on something, and it really did. It's just like if you never heard Howard Cosell call a Monday night football game, you missed out. But Jay told the story of, you know, people couldn't understand how good our product was because they had to buy it, have it installed before they could even taste the good water. And his friend Jacques Blondeau, who was in the pots and pans business and in the fire alarm business, smoke alarm business with Jay prior to the water filters, came down from Canada and said, Jay, you need this thing you put on the end of the faucet. It's a rubber suction, and you temporarily hook up the water filter, and they can make tea, make coffee, they can taste it, and they buy it. And Jay called it the puppy dog sales approach, where it's like if you take a little 5-year-old child and you plop down a golden retriever puppy in their lap and tell the parents, they're saying, we don't need a dog. It's okay. I just want your child to play with it, enjoy it for a week, and I'll come back. And if you don't want it, I'll take it. How many times is the golden retriever not going to stay with that child? Its soul once that child hugs that puppy. And so Jay said, we came up with the puppy dog sales approach, and everybody loved our water. It wasn't high pressure. People could try it before they bought it. And they experienced not double, not triple, but a 14x, 14 times increase in revenue the month after they introduced a way to sample the water filter. So when I knew this new superfood product was coming and I got to taste it, I said, this is Travis being just like Jay Martin all over again. A product, our capsules, our fruit, veggie, and berry product that has all the research on those powders. That's, 85% of our business over time. And it's the number one selling whole food nutrition product in the world, most researched nutrition product in the world. And we've never been able to let anybody sample it before they bought it. I'm like, this is it. This is the catalyst that's going to change the game. If you consistently let it get the momentum started and you plug it into your DMO, how many samples are you giving out every day? How many conversations are you having? Are you taking advantage of what the company's doing to give you a reason to open your mouth? So I'm just telling you, that is what we're talking about. Those kind of things will let you look forward with that tomorrow you've crafted, and you'll change your activity today to make it happen. These are some of the things, in addition to all the catalysts and all the consistency. I want you to think about rhythm. You heard, I think everybody in one way or another, the speakers tonight talked about rhythm. And I'm wrapping it up. I'm hurrying here. But all these things, daily, weekly, and monthly rhythms, are things you need to develop. And we've got tools to help you do that, okay? But here's the main thing I wanted to share with you. As I was having a quiet time and where I was reading and studying at the moment, I just got slammed up beside the head this week. And I'm going to use a biblical example. And no matter what your faith journey is, what religion you are, this is Jesus, a great leader, teaching his people how to behave, to grow, and spread a message. Okay, so you can take it as a faith message, or you can just take it as a principle that we know works. Okay, so here's Jesus about to leave the earth after it was, this is, we got Easter, Resurrection Sunday coming up. And so this was after he was resurrected and he was on earth. 40 witnesses saw him, and he's like sitting there and he says, he's telling him he's leaving. I'm going back to heaven. I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. And I want you to go to, this is where they lived, Judea, Samaria, Jerusalem, to the uttermost parts of the earth. He wanted them to go out and spread the word, grow this thing. And you know what their response was? This was his inner core group. They said, does this mean you're coming back soon? What do we need to do? Because we're to get ready for you to come back. And I thought about that, and then I was reading a John Maxwell thing, and John Maxwell dove into this exact topic, and he said, do you realize that Jesus said, go play offense? And their response was, what do we need to do just to make sure we can maintain what we have? We're going to play defense till you come back. When you come back, we'll be ready to play. We're going to watch you play offense. We'll play offense with you, but when you're not right here with us, we're going to go into the defensive mode. We just want to know when you're coming back, because they didn't want to play offense. Did COVID and the conditions and the technology battles and the things we fought, have that made you want to treat your business and play defense? Have you stopped playing offense? That's my question for you. Are you playing offense? Because you cannot have momentum if your modus operandi is defense. Defense is a barrier. Offense is a motion. It's a momentum. And another way I think about it is scarcity versus abundance. I think the best word to describe to what happened to our country during those COVID years, I think it changed people. So they tried to squeeze every living bit out of life that they could from their homes. They didn't reach out and grow and do new things. Abundance was the farthest thing from their mind. They were scared, and they operated out of scarcity. If you want momentum, you have to operate out of abundance. You have to have an abundance mindset. Let me share with you some things and ways you can play offense. You heard a lot tonight. One way you can play offense is to share your story. Who are you going to share your story with tomorrow, this week, this month? How many times do you need to share your story between now and April 30th to make sure you get your 5 customers and your $500? Strive for 5. Just sharing your story enough times could accomplish that. That's one of the moves that can be in your playbook. What's another one? Social media. Jesse talked a little bit about social media. The company on boards and on the hub has given us resources to share on social media. Are you shy? Haven't figured that out yet? Do you need to just break through and start sharing on social media? One of the things that we're going to do coming up here very soon, I'm not sure we're going to do it in April. We're going to try to get it done in April. We're going to do a big campaign and figure out what's the best way to get people's attention on social media so that they want a sample of superfood. I want to use that little folder we got at conference, stick 2 sleeves of superfood in there, and I want to get as many samples in the mail as I can as an opportunity for growth and momentum. What are you going to do on social media? What's your playbook? Is it a slant? Is it run up the middle? Is it, just a bomb down the middle for a touchdown? I don't know. But what are you going to do on social media? What are you going to do about events? There are lots of events. Skylar told you about the second Thursday of every month. It's an event for prospects. You can plug into that. Wendy Campbell does her Wow is in the Why on a regular basis. We do events on Facebook and YouTube, online events. There are boot camps coming up to get people to get them trained and to build momentum. I know in Atlanta on April 26th, Carolyn Price is hosting Travis Garza, our CEO, and David Phillips, a Harvard-educated medical doctor who is an Ironman triathlete. It's going to be a great event. What events are going on in your area? Boards, the company's Facebook page, the Juice Plus Live app. You can see Just like if you're playing football, they're going to give you a playbook. All these things are available to you so you can call your next play. This is my favorite, three-way calls. The phone, that's probably is about what the phone looked like in my days. You know, when you're a dinosaur, you have old things. And so that might have been what the rotary phone looked like that was at my grandmom's house. I never had a rotary phone like that was my phone. My grandparents did, but I had touch tone phones, and I had to pay $10 a month, maybe even 15 as an add-on feature so that I could have three-way calling on my phone. Now it's free. Now long distance is free, and the cell phone goes with you anywhere you want to go. I had to carry a roll of quarters around on a pager so I could go to a payphone. I mean, you think y'all have it difficult? I mean, I literally left each morning with my pager on my hip and a roll of quarters in my pocket because somebody would call me, page me. I need to stop and use a payphone. But we did what we had to do. And I paid that extra $15 a month to have that feature on my phone because I was taught that three-way calling was critical. Amy threw in there, Jesse talked about Power Hour. There are lots of them. You go to boards, and I know on the Campbell team board, there's once a week, there's a new schedule that comes out. So they're scheduled power hours. I recorded one and set one up on our website, makealife.com/power hour, that's recorded so you can do it any time of day. Whenever you want to do it, you said, I want to be held accountable. I want to take this hour and play offense for my business. But I can't do it when in this schedule. It didn't fit, but you can do it whenever you want to. It's recorded. It's not as good as a live one, maybe, with the charisma and stuff, but that's on my website for you to use. And then once a month, we do a live power hour where we dive in for an hour. And instead of just having the same old power hour, we take the incentives and the special things that are going on in the moment, and we focus on those during that live power hour. And then at the end of that, I do a live Q&A so that anybody that feels like they don't have the leadership they need or they have questions, I want to be there because nobody needs to have no matter whose downline they're in, I want to be there to make sure they have that question answered. So you can find that on our site too. Here's something we're going to do to help start this momentum movement. Starting in May, the first 5 days of May, well, actually the first 5 weekdays of May, that's May 1st is a Thursday. So it's Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to let you take Saturday, Sunday off to do, family things and stuff. We want to take the first 5 weekdays of the month, and at 10:30 every day for 5 days, we're going to wake up and we're going to have things that you need to do that day to create momentum in your business. We're going to do it for 5 straight days. And you're welcome to plug into that. If you go to our website, that makealife.com, BYE 2025, and Trey can drop it in the chat groups, you can sign up so that you'll get a notification of when those happen. But they'll be happening on Facebook and YouTube. And we're going to do that the first 5 days of May, and anybody's welcome to join us. And we're going to be talking about this quarter. These are the 6 things we're focusing on this year to equip you. We're going to talk about what are the right targets, which is goals. What are the right tactics, which are strategies, plans. What are the right tools, which are like three-way calls, incentives. What are the right tools that are available to you in the moment? How are you going to manage your time to do this? Which part of your team do you need to pull into this with you? And where are the holes in your team where you've got to find new people to join you? And then what do you do to make sure that you're operating at a high level of trust? And you really know what trust is, right? Trust is belief so high that you're willing to act on it. So we want to build and work on that too, okay? Our next event like this will be August 13th. And if you go to the site and just sign up for the best year ever, you're not obligated for anything. You're going to get a training and a video once a month, and you're going to find out about all the events. And we're going to keep you plugged in, keep you knowing everything you need to know. Okay. And I just want to thank you. I'm sorry I went over like 8 minutes. I didn't mean to. We were trying to be done by 8:30, but I apologize for going over. But thank you to Catherine, Skylar, and Jesse for sharing tonight. Be blessed. Love all you guys, and I'm just so excited we're on this journey together, and we've got the right leadership in place and the right product, and there's exciting new things happening. So it's time to create momentum. Have a great night.